Setting up the last part of the winch prep prior to actually needing it in the real world, I have found a somewhat abandoned parking lot. You can see the post off in the distance there, maybe with the glare of the sun on the wet pavement. I'm going to throw a strap around that giant concrete pillar, hitch up my winch shackle to the strap with a soft shackle, and we're going to pull it in under tension. Other than the slight uphill incline, we're going to get the tension here. If you can see, I have my emergency brake set. I set this where I can put it in neutral, and we're now in neutral, and it will not roll. If I put it in drive, it definitely holds the Jeep, but it will pull. And then if I put it in reverse, it'll actually slightly go backwards. But in neutral, even on the incline, I've got no roll whatsoever. So we're going to set this up to tension or put load on the line, and we're going to pull it in under that tension, and that'll get us all squared away and ready to go when we need it. The reason we want to pull this in under tension, when you're winching in the real world, you can see how I'm moving around these layers with just my fingers, right? Even some of the deeper layers. But you see when I get to some of the outer edges here, it does not move. So if this has just been spooled in loosely under no tension, what'll happen is you'll get a hard pull and it'll suck this line in under like one of the other layers of cord. If you can see, I'm able to even push it under there with my fingers. And that just makes a giant mess because it'll lock it all up. We'll have a pretty difficult time trying to pull it out, and it's just not a good way to handle this. So we're gonna spool this thing out here and tie it off, and we'll pull it in under load, and it'll have this thing all cleared up, and we'll be ready to go when we need it. And I've got my engine off while I'm doing this, which isn't a huge deal. That's all I'm going to do. You can see I got the winch controller. So I'm going to go ahead and select the winch. We're going to hold our buttons down for 3 seconds. There we go. All right, you see everything pop free. So we're going to go ahead and spool this thing out, get hooked up, and get some tension on here. One of the things Warn does here that makes this fairly useful, from a distance you can actually see when the red cord pops up. That's going to be your inner drum layer. You don't want to spool that out. This is the base layer where you get your maximum pull. So this layer stays on the winch. I could see this from back where I'm getting ready to hitch up. I could see the red unspooling and still see the black stripe on it. So next up, we're going to hitch up our other end here with a soft shackle and get a pull going. I'll get the soft shackle here cinched up. You can see we're all hitched up here. So we are going to start winding this thing in. We'll ease the tension up on the line. All right, everything is looking solid with our connection here. It's my first time using the soft shackle. It doesn't look like it's going to pop off there by any means. Well, let's see what kind of range we've got on our remote here. All right, we'll go down and check how this is spooling on next. And you can see the line on the fair lead starting to move its way back across. And the red is pretty much entirely covered on that layer or wrap now. So we're at least up on the second layer, which this is where it starts losing pulling power. And the microphone should be picking it up. You can actually hear the brakes moaning when this is pulling against them. And now you can see the line starting to come back to the left on the fair lead. So it is pretty much doing what it's designed to do at this point, getting itself wound on fairly evenly, keeping it pulled tight all the way across. How far should you go on this reel end? You can see where I've got this set up, and we've probably got a good 20 foot left here at least. I'm going to go ahead and bring it in as far as I can. I doubt you would ever be winching this short a distance, but it could happen if you just need to get slightly unstuck, and that has happened to me before. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in as far as I can, go put it back in park, we'll release some tension on it, and wrap this up. And for a little added resistance, we got some snow to work with. And that is as far as I'm going to go with it. All right, make sure your fingers are clear doing this, like very, very clear. So that would be a crush injury more than a pinch. Get it lined up there as best I can. Give it another little click. And there we have it. One fully wrapped, under tension, ready to go winch. You can see now this winch line, I mean, I can't move any of that synthetic line by hand at all. It is 100% tensioned up on there and going nowhere. Next little bit here, I got a new cover to throw on here, so I'll back out of this spot. We'll get it on there. It's a Warn cover, and it shows us the winch cover for the Zeon and Zeon Platinum. So it's a decent looking cover. Looks like it's got a Velcro down flap. Not exactly sure what that's about, but this is just to be able to get to your rope. Looks like bungee cords to go over either side of the motor with what appears to be a pull tie down strap on each side. Looks simple enough. Let's see if it is. All right, I just tied a couple of figure-8 stopper knots in these pull cords. And one of the things I spotted while doing so, we got a zipper on what will be the driver's side, which I'm assuming is you have the standard Zeon and you actually have the mechanical clutch. It'll give you access to it, right? Another thing the Zeon has is it offers a couple of ports in back to wire up lights or whatever other 12-volt accessories you'd like. I'm not using that, but I get the feeling that it would make it a lot easier to get to those as well. One thing I will point out, my winch bumper I've got, this mounts the winch flat on top of the bumper and there's no space between. If you have a recessed bumper, this might be a bit more of a challenge to get on there than it's going to be to put on this one, because you have to slip this thing physically over the motors. So we'll start here on passenger side. I got the cinch cord under, and I have what looks to be a pretty good lineup on it. So now we'll grab the cinch cord on the driver's side, which it does give you plenty of space, so that's not a problem. We'll slip that under. All right, looks like that Velcro flap does a really good job of covering up your winch line and protecting it from the sun. So next up, I'm going to cinch down these cords that pass through. And that was actually a really simple install. I mean, that thing went on there beautifully with no issues whatsoever. Yeah, you got plenty of room. Oh, and that's the other thing. The Zeon, even the Zeon Platinum has a power switch on the back. I'm going to go ahead and turn mine off. Makes it real easy to get to that. And there we have it. Let's take a look under this Velcro cover here. See if it's, yeah, it's workable. Easy enough to get under there. So with the cover on, you can still see all of the line here with no problem. And the cover down should help keep it, you know, dry and dirt and muck free. So there it is. And the last episode of this will be coming this weekend, if possible, which will be, if you watched episode 1, I'm going to do the same thing on the front bumper that I did to the bolts underside, which is weld the crossbar on those. So anybody that wants to steal this thing is going to require a whole lot of noise to do so, and probably a lot more time than they want to spend. But other than that, this is a wrap. I have some more series coming up soon. Thanks for watching.